Hola chicos, en la lección de hoy vamos a aprender a conjugar los verbos que terminan en CAR, GAR y ZAR en el modo subjuntivo. Hi guys, in today's lesson we are going to learn the subjunctive form of the verbs that end in CAR, GAR, and ZAR. The notes that accompany this presentation are located in your Google Classroom. Please be sure to have your notes ready and fill them in as you watch the video. During the preterite lesson, we learned that CAR, GAR, ZAR verbs change their spelling in the jo form of the verb. Now let's take a look at what happens in the subjunctive. Verbs that end in CAR, GAR, and ZAR have spelling changes in all forms in the subjunctive. Here we're looking at CAR verbs. CAR verbs change the C to a QU. Let's take a look. Buscar changes to yo busque. Tú busques. Él busque. Nosotros busquemos. Ellos busquen. As you can see, we follow the rule of changing the C to a QU in all forms. Then we follow the general rule of AR verbs in the subjunctive, which is to change the AR to es, hemos, en. Now let's take a look at GAR, verbs that end in GAR, which are GAR verbs. Verbs that change in GAR all have a spelling change in the subjunctive also. The G in the verb changes to a GU. For example, pagar becomes yo pague, tú pagues, él pague, nosotros paguemos, ellos paguen. And just like the CAR and GAR verbs, the ZAR verbs have a spelling change where the Z changes to a C. And that is in all forms of the verb. For example, rezar becomes yo rece, tú reces, él rece, nosotros recemos. Now let's have a little practice. On the Practiquemos section of your notes, you will find these verbs. Please conjugate the verbs according to the subject pronoun. Remember that in the subjunctive, these verbs, CAR, GAR, and ZAR verbs, change in all forms. They either change from a C to a QU, or G to a GU, or a Z to a C. Now let's take a look at new weirdo verbs. And these are the verbs that express emotion. Remember that when forming the subjunctive, there are 3 requirements, which are 2 subjects, a weirdo verb, and the word que. Okay, these verbs that you're looking at right now are verbs that express emotion, which is the E of the word weirdo. Alegrarse de means to be glad. Estar contento, to be happy. To be or to be happy, to be sad. Okay. Preocuparse de, to worry about. Sentir, to be sorry. In this case, the emotion is to be sorry, not to feel. Sentir usually means to feel something, but in this sense, it means to be sorry. Tener miedo de, to be afraid. Gustar, to like. Molestar, to bother. Sorprender, to surprise or to be surprised. Okay, these verbs do work like the verb gustar. And that means is that the subject pronouns that you will use, just like in gustar, will be me, te, se, le. Let's take a look at some examples. It surprises me that you play the piano. Me sorprende que tú toques el piano. I like that Juan pays the bills. Me gusta que Juan pague las cuentas. Okay. My mom worries that they don't pray. Mi madre se preocupa de que ellos no recen. They are glad that we work. Ellos se alegran que nosotros trabajemos. In these examples, you can see that these verbs use the subject pronouns me, te, le, se. Okay? Me sorprende, it surprises me. Me gusta, I like. Mi madre se preocupa, right? She worries. Ellos se alegran. Now it's your turn to practice. Translate the following sentences. Use the practiquemos sections of your note and translate the sentences. We will discuss them in class. Adiós.